Hey guys, Nick here, and today we will be getting into part 2 of What If Madison's family from Fear joined Rick. Now, in the last part, we discussed, some of the minor things that would go into the factors of Madison's family being able to come in contact with Rick, like the distance, where Rick's group would be, and introducing both groups to each other in a sorta nice way per se. And now we will be getting into the actual story as to what will happen when the two groups converge and what they think of each other, especially going into the highway scene, which will play out a little bit differently than you might think. Let's get into it. Madison and Rick would bond over their leadership roles and how they have led the group so far. For Alicia and Nick, you might ask? Well, since we're talking about bonding and who they'd be with, since it's two separate groups, Alicia and Nick take an interest in Carl and Sophia, who they see as sort of like two miniature versions of themselves, to a degree, and sort of like a younger brother and sister type role, sort of. Shane and Strand would also bond, because they're a lot alike. They both have their own ideals of the world. They both want to go to places that they've yet to go to, for different reasons, mind you. One to save, his, gay lover, Strand, and Shane just because. And they both have their own ideals, which makes them essentially bros. Dale and Daniel, two Ds, anyways, they would bond over their wisdom and their knowledge, because Dale's and Daniel, they would make actually a pretty sick combo, if I do say so myself. They both have great knowledge, and just pretty much that's it. And while we're on the topic of those two, Andrea and Ophelia actually get into a friendship role themselves. Because if you think about it, Andrea was treated to Dale as like a daughter type role. So her bonding with Ophelia, as Dale and Daniel are already bromancing, it's honestly not too far-fetched. Now, with all that out of the way, and all that stuff and acquainting the groups, Rick now says that now they're all acquainted, they should make for Fort Benning, which is where they're going to seek sanctuary, just because, and asks if they want to join them now that they've seemingly gained their trust and everything. Madison says, why not? She says she agrees with Rick, and really, since San Diego's gone, they really don't have anywhere else to go. This was a surprise in and of itself. So joining these people, who cares? It's the best possible choice in her hands, in her mind, I mean. Anyways, eventually we get to the highway, and that pretty much plays out the exact same way, except looting the cars and everything is much better with more people. Well, Madison's family is definitely a much more handy, but it's also a bigger matter to get the group to hide when the horde comes. But they do manage to keep it out without having to fight them. But then we get to a particular scene. Sophia being led out into the woods because of the whole horde. Now, even though it was sort of hard for the group to hide, they still did. This scene really isn't that inescapable. But it's not Rick who goes to save her. It's Chris. Now, why Chris? What does he have to offer in terms of... Why would he do this? Well, first of all, I feel that it would rectify his being mad at Travis and gain him more favor not only with his father, but with the new group, especially saving one of their own. And because he's the closest one to her when the horde arrived. So, honestly, with the context being there and everything else, it makes Chris helping out Sophia here worth something. But it's not going to go the way that you might think. Because Sure enough, we get to the spot where Rick hid Sophia originally, because I feel that would have happened anyways, whether it be purposeful or not. But then, the 2-3 walkers show up that came near them, except unlike Rick, who's smart and doesn't want to fight him with a rock, Chris just straight out pulls out a gun and prepares to fight them. But since they never went anywhere besides the boat, and Chris has never fought a walker before, this is why he's so stupid in the fact of pulling out a gun, which he manages to kill one in 2-3 shots, aiming one finally at the head. But before he can actually kill the other one properly, he only manages to get 1 to 2 shots in the body of the walker before he is unfortunately bit on the shoulder. And yeah, I know it's said that this would be like a rectify of truly making up for Chris's character, but really, this is really not far-fetched for what to happen to Chris for any Chris haters out there. And with how stupid he is, only then, after he starts to get bit, does he actually shoot the walker successfully in the brain. But being Chris and a stupid little boy, he doesn't actually continue on with saving Sophia now that he knows he's pretty much seemingly screwed. He just runs off. And for those of you questioning this and why I would try to redeem Chris in some way, shape, or form, you clearly haven't watched Fear enough not to know Chris. This is definitely something that would happen with him, or something he would do. And Sophia begins to crawl out of the hole, seeing no walkers around, and seeing that Chris just abandoned her when Rick shows up. And this would almost be like Rick putting her into the hole, except it would be kind of a little reverse of that, and it's just kind of convenient how the events would play out from the original. Anyways, Rick, not seeing Chris around, seeing that he had went to go after her, asks her where he is. And Sophia's not really the proudest to really admit that, because he kind of sort of saved her, but didn't. Then explains through tears, because, she's a kid, that he did in fact save her and bring her here, but then 2-3 walkers showed up, and unfortunately for him, he did manage to fend them off, but got bitten on the shoulder and then ran away. And it's lucky that he killed all the walkers before he did, otherwise she would have died too. Rick, understanding this, says that the only thing they can do is just head back to the highway and figure out a plan. Because, honestly, can't go after him, and they don't know what to do. Rick, coming out of the woods, carrying Sophia, pleases Carol greatly, but there's one person missing. Chris. Because everyone knows by this point that he went out. Travis, feeling a surge of emotions, because we know how emotional Travis got with Chris, asks Rick where he is. And Sophia answers first, being more brave this time and not wanting Rick to get yelled at, and not seeing that Travis might not hit a kid, says what happened to Chris. And Travis, you would think that he would be mad at the both of them and rage into attack, but the only reason that he did that with the group in the original when they found out about Chris's death is because that was later figured out to be purposeful, whereas this was Chris's own doing. And Travis sees this, being the perceptive man that he is, and says that it's really no one's fault but his own. It's something Chris would do, and I'm sure a lot of us would agree with that. Madison agrees too and says that this is nobody else's fault, and it's honestly going to be hard to find him now with him running off, but they can figure out a game plan and go and try and find him. But Shane, he's the only one not cool about any of this, and pulls Rick aside for a chat. Some of the chats that they would have in the original story, and says that they really shouldn't have brought this group with them. They could have been to Fort Benning right now, and now they're searching for a kid who just got himself bit. He's most likely dead. especially if it was on a shoulder or something. There's no way they could save him, even if they do find him. And says that this is all just a waste of time and they should have just abandoned them. And they are plenty good without them. Having them here now proves that they're just going to risk more lives. Rick says that is absolutely not true, and this was just a mistake because of the whole horde thing and how Chris was. It's not down to having more people that's bad for them. It's just who is in the group and how they behave in the group. They can't just push them out when they just got acquainted. That's not going to happen. And he knows as well as anyone that they need the numbers right now. They've lost too many lives. And someone overhears all of this. Strand. And this really doesn't sit well with him, having just befriended Shane. Since Strand has seemingly been pushed away from ever finding Thomas again, since they're in frickin' Atlanta, will this new and broken-hearted and downward set Strand turn on Rick's group and even Madison's because of overhearing this conversation? Or will something happen in the favor that will stop anything bad from escalating? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Hope you guys enjoyed the second part of the series. I truly enjoy the idea of bringing two groups from separate Walking Dead realities together. Well, not realities, just different parts of The Walking Dead. But before Fear, I didn't even know what it was, and I didn't think I would ever talk about it in a video. But now that I have, I truly love doing this. I hope you guys are too. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you want to see more, leave a comment, and I will see you guys next time.